Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. In this section, I will introduce the Scaffold assistant and highlight its key feature. Unlike a chat-based version, where you and the AI develop and refine ideas through conversation, this Scaffold assistant provides fine-grained interactions that let you sharpen, expand, combine, or evaluate your initial ideas. We provide 6 scaffold functions. First is frame. It helps turn a vague observation into a sharp problem. The next, distill. It breaks down a broad concept into several sub-concepts. Elaborate. It helps expand a point with details and reference grounding. Next, synthesize. It helps combine several parts of an existing idea into a unified one. Then critique. It performs a stress test of your idea against predefined criteria. And finally, infer. It helps generate study components such as research questions, hypotheses, and methods. This tool lets you work dynamically by chaining different scaffolds together in sequence. So here is one example. Suppose we start with an initial idea, and we can use distill to break a high-level theme into several sub-concepts, then pick one and use elaborate to ground it in prior work. Separately, we could use frame to turn a vague observation into a concrete problem statement, then use elaborate again to support that problem statement with prior work. Next, we can use synthesize to combine the points I just decomposed and elaborated into a unified concept. For example, here maybe there's a new unified idea, and finally I could use infer to generate a full research idea brief, including research questions, hypothesis, methodology, or a study plan. We'd like to see how you use the different scaffolds to create your own version of this kind of idea trajectory. Now let's work through one example. Here is the initial idea I've written down. The idea is about adaptive storytelling powered by generative UI. So I want to design a dynamic storytelling interface powered by generative UI for a personalized reading experience. Now I will show each scaffold functions works on this initial idea. So there are 3 steps. First, you highlight a sentence or part of the sentence which invokes the toolbar. Click a scaffold function, for example, here frame, and a configuration sidebar appears on the right, where you can choose the direction you want to frame the problem in. So after you complete the configuration, you go to the pipeline, where you can see like each scaffold step. So each time you apply a scaffold function, it shows the existing highlight. You applied it. It will follow by the newly generated outcomes below it. Now, let's go through each scaffold function one by one. Frame, as mentioned, frame turns a vague observation into a concrete problem statement. So once you make a highlight, it offers several suggestions for different types of problem frame. So here it already gives you several directions, including a gap, attention, or design problem. You could always request additional framing. You can also give the AI a specific direction, like type your suggestion and click refine. It will then show you different problem framing based on your input. Once you finish the configuration, go to the pipeline and click run. So we've already done it. But now, if the results doesn't generate well, you could also reset the function. You can reset, double click it, go back, select a different direction, and run the pipeline again. So okay, here we delete the previous framing results. Okay, now let's move on to the next function, elaborate. So here is a statement. Current systems rely on prescripted content and cannot dynamically reshape narrative elements, etc. And I want to ground this in prior work. So to do that, click elaborate on related work. So if you know how you want to elaborate, just type the input box here, like ground this statement on previous related work. If you already know some of the existing work, you could search as generative UI and select some paper. Then the elaborate will ground your highlighted statements in this selected work. Elaborate actually can do more than just ground a statement in prior work. For example, you can ask it to elaborate on the storytelling of Harry Potter. So for example, here I highlight storytelling, click elaborate, and type a request like, help me draw a diagram that displays the storyline of the Harry Potter. So in this case, it helped to elaborate the Harry Potter story. There's a diagram showing it also contextualized that the Harry Potter story can be dynamically reshaped from a characteristics perspective using generative UI. And then complete with steps, potential outcomes, and a graph illustrating how such a reading experience look like. So that's how elaborate can work in different ways. Now let's move on to the next function, distill. As mentioned before, distill breaks a high-level theme into several sub-concepts. For example, let's highlight dynamic UI as a high-level concept. Clicking distill breaks it down into several domains, such as here we have software development, UI design, and user experience. You can then select the sub-concepts you consider important and then elaborate on them later. You can also suggest a new domain to help break the high-level concept down differently. Here, the breakdown comes with elaborated descriptions. We have interactive elements, responsible layouts, real-time updates, and all these explanations is grounded in prior works. So we can click the in-text citations to read the related papers. Let's move on to the next function, synthesize. So here's how synthesize works. First, you highlight relevant content, for example, the core concepts of the study or a study goals. Click the toolbar, synthesize, then as mentioned, this combines previously highlighted context. For example, we have the frame output, we have the Harry Potter diagram by using elaborate, or the distilled dynamic UI subconcepts. Right now, I might want to combine the dynamic UI subcomponents with the Harry Potter idea into a unified construct. So after selecting both, click apply, and it produces a synthesized concept. For example, perspective-driven narrative embodiment. It means readers experience a story by embodying any character, with the UI generatively rewriting text, voice, visuals, and data in real time to match their chosen perspective. Good. So this presents a unified core idea. Now let's move on to the next scaffolding functions, infer. Infer helps generate different study components. To begin with, you can highlight the title of your research idea, then select which study components you want the AI to generate. So the first one is study proposal options, which already includes several subcomponents such as title, problem statement, related work, proposed solutions, and evaluation plan. There are also other options you could select, such as research question, hypothesis, methodology, contributions, and related work. You could also customize the components to fit your subfields. For example, psychology might ask for a different study component, etc. So you can create custom components, name them, give it a description, and decide whether to ground each one in prior work. Now, let me just demonstrate generating a study proposal. Infer takes all the context from the scaffold function you've used, or the text you've written, and produce a concrete study proposal. Okay, here it generates a concrete study proposal, including the title, problem statement, related work, and other sections. So Infer somehow gives you a shortcut to generate a study proposal. However, we still encourage you to use the other scaffold functions afterward to further elaborate, distill, refine, or critique it. Finally, we have critique. So critique can do two different things. First, you can freely select a sentence and ask the AI to evaluate whether the argument is logically sound or valid. So here, you could type evaluate whether this argument is valid logically. So then it will return you a brief explanation of its assessment. Okay. The argument is logically valid. Yeah. Okay. Critique can also evaluate an entire research idea or study proposal. To do that, let's just delete the previous one. You highlight the idea's title and then click critique. So there are predefined criteria to choose from. For example, creativity, novelty plus value, research quality, including novelty, feasibility, impact, or other critique framework. So now let's just use research quality to evaluate the current proposal. So here, the critique gives you a brief explanation for each criterion, indicating whether the proposal satisfies novelty, feasibility, and so on. Okay, knowing how to apply the right scaffold function to your idea isn't always easy. So to help with this, we build another functions, which is suggest. So when you click suggest, the AI will analyze your current ideas and offer several suggestions for which scaffolds to apply. Now let's remove the previous scaffolds generated outcomes and then click suggest. Now it offers 6 suggestions to help you get started. Such as here, identifying that there's a clear gap, but it needs to be sharpened into a specific problem worth solving. So if you agree, click apply, and it will suggest a problem framing approach along with guidance on which framing to use. Focus on real-time perspective-driven narrative reshaping as the core problem. You click refine, and then there are some new suggested direction. We select one suggestion and run the pipeline to execute it. Essentially, you follow what the AI suggests, and you can see the resulting sequence of scaffold steps. Of course, like here, we have step 2, but sometimes the AI can make mistakes and not every suggestion will be useful. So it's up to your judgment whether to apply a suggested scaffold. Finally, let's talk about how the pipeline could work in a different way. Let's apply several AI-suggested scaffold as an example. We do distill, critique, apply the critique. Here is already a suggested critique criteria, and then we use infer, automatically select the research question methodology, then synthesize. So on the pipeline, you can decide the order in which the scaffold runs. So you could simply drag and drop to change the sequence. You can also pause after one scaffold finished. You can review the output, make adjustments, and then continue running the pipeline. So once you finish sequencing the scaffolds in the right way, then you click Run Pipeline. It executes each scaffold function in order. Now it's running the distill scaffold. It paused after the distill, and we could click continue. Then it runs from the critique directly to synthesize. Okay, this is the end of the tutorial. Be creative and play around with the tool. Think about how you can apply the different scaffold functions to develop, refine, or critically evaluate your ideas. So have fun. Hope you like the tools.